all here. We're all here. All right, Chevra, thank you for being flexible. The Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. The Chevra are running. The Chevra are flying. We're just preparing for Shabbos. This is Erev Shabbos before Erev Shabbos. So the Kavod Shabbos Kodesh B'Shem Kol Yisrael for Pesach or Ubemen Usaf Asara. Baruch Bas Yehudis, Miriam Dodabas Chani Ucheved, Yona Bas Basia, Shira Bas Basia, Sinai Reuven Bimani, and every Neshama in Klal Yisrael, and Yoela Bas Avana should have a refuah. Oh God, you're full of favor, tender mercy, kindness, and goodness at all times. May it be your will to have pity on us and shine upon us with grace and kindness. Grant us favor in your eyes and in the eyes of all who see us. Send us words of grace and endearment that will enter into your heart. Accept our prayers and requests at all times and fulfill your promise to pour out on the house of David and those who dwell in Yerushalayim the spirit of grace and endearment. Barca is going there very soon. But the words with which we address you be words of grace and endearment, and give them room to enter into your heart, and let our words arouse your favor and pleasure before the throne of your glory, Bezrat Hashem. Chavra halacha lamaisa. We're just we're going through laws of mezuzah, Bezrat Hashem, Siman Yid Aleph, and let's continue. A bathhouse and a tannery. A tannery is a building where animal skins are processed to make leather, which usually has a foul odor. And a house of ritual immersion are exempt from the requirement of a mezuzah because they're not made to be used for dignified residence. So it says in the footnote here, any room that requires a mezuzah must be similar in function to a house. As the verse states, Taftam am zopetecha, you shall write them on the doorposts of your house. This excludes those rooms that are not made for a dignified function, meaning a bathhouse or a house of immersion, because their central function involves a state of undress in a tannery because of the foul odor it generates. It is for this reason that the entrance to a bathroom does not require mezuzah. Here's the halacha, right? Here's the halacha. If you guys were wondering, I wonder every single time. Here it is. Mamish, here it is. We're learning it right now. Baruch Hashem. However, a cattle barn in a room in which chickens are raised, and a storehouse for straw or wood, right? Reminding me of Rabbi Akiva. It's all about Rabbi Akiva. I don't know, like it's revealed to us a short time ago. I'm sure you guys, it was revealed to you before. It was revealed to me, mamish. But the straw, the whole thing with the straw. Anyways, we'll read that story another time. In storerooms of wine or of other drinks, if they have their requisite minimum measurements of a house, 4 amos by 4 amos, they require a mezuzah. However, some authorities maintain that they are exempt. Bezrat Hashem Chavra will continue with the halachos on Sunday. Bezrat Hashem. And in the meantime, go over ourselves. Okay. We're on Perek Bet. We're on Perek Bet, Chavra. This is unbelievable. So the question is, how are we able to strengthen ourselves when there is this apparent distance with others in the world? So Rav Ishmael opens up in Chelik Bet. We just went through Chelik Aleph, Baruch Hashem. This is big stuff. Big stuff. We're moving right along in Biyam Darkecha. Big stuff. And this is the biggest one yet. So the title, the Torah for today's Chabura is Ahava She'ina Taloy B'Davar. Right? Love that does not depend on anything. This is the love that Rosh Shlomo talks about all the time. This is the love that we're trying to get to. Right? So V'hine Ha'ava Hamitit Ki V'hargi She'ani V'chaveri Davar Echad Mamash. Right, so a true love that we've been discussing up until this point is to feel that Farker and I are one. Right, it seems like there's a difference right now. Right, we're in 2 different places. I'm like in the skies right now, looking over Yerushalayim, right, with a quote above my head, and Farka is in Tel Aviv. right? And like we're in different places, we look different, right? We have different shirts on, the whole thing. I was different body builds, right? Fargo, we gotta fire it up, okay. Right, and then we're separate, but we have to know that we're mamish one. We're mamish one. Ki kol Yisroel hein neshama echad mamish. We're one neshama, we're one body. V'kamosha adam ohev et kol chelki gufo. Gam im yesh eze ever shemakiv lo. Right, so that a person, we have to, what does this mean? Right, so a person that loves every part of himself and loves every part of his body, even if things don't look the way that he may want them to, he still loves every part of his body, even if he's hurt, even if he knows that he has blemishes, right? He still loves those blemishes. He still loves those parts of himself. So same too, kach sarich lahargish kashor im chavirav kasher be'etzem. Right? We have to, same too with our friends, same too with those who feel like we're distant to. We have to love every single aspect of themselves. And this is the deepest chevra. Bli shaychus lama shehem osim b'ma hi margish imam. Right? Without this attachment, without, let's say you see someone in the middle of the street who's acting crazy, you may ask yourselves, well, what are they doing? We're one neshama? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter how you feel towards them or with them, right? It could be your friend or what they're doing, right? We have to feel this kesher be'etzem. Aval, im hidkashrus im chavero, hirak lefi ha'hergasha. Right, so we're talking about a kesher, a connection with a friend or with Am Yisrael that's based off a feeling alone, based off of feeling, right? That's not a strong foundation, right? If we're serving Hashem through feeling, we all know the line from our rabbis, specifically Rabbi Yair, emotions blast while actions last. Right, so actions is mamish doing this b'poal, like we spoke about the last couple of days, right? But if our connection with Am Yisrael, and we think our kesher be'etzem is off a hergasha, kisheyesh lo ta'anot al chaviro hu mafrid et atzmo mimenu. If it's based off a hergasha, off a feeling, then one thing goes wrong with a friend or with Am Yisrael, and there's automatically this separation. There's this separation from us, right? You don't belong with us. You're not connected to us anymore. If it's off his feeling, right? If we have achdut before Dvekut, then we may feel like we're not one neshama. We're not one body. You and I are not one. Hu mirabizeh she'ein ze kesher be'etzem. The kol hakesher hu rak kedei limso chen zeh be'enai zeh. In my limited understanding of this, right, with this kesher of a hirgasha, we're really looking for what's good in our eyes, right? What's good in our eyes, and if things don't look right in one moment, then zeh, it's over. Rabbi Shemar says, "The ein ze avat Yisrael miti." This is not avat Yisrael. True avat Yisrael is of his hergasha. Shehi ava she'ena toloya b'davar. Right. This is not real avat Yisrael. What's real avat Yisrael? Is love that does not depend on anything. Ke'avat David v'yiton Yehonatan. Amnon. However, sof isheinan devarim hagormim lahargish richuk beferud. Right, there are things where there are paths and there are moments where we feel separation, we feel distance. And we have to realize, and we have to know in our hearts, and we have to have da'at, right? We have to access our seichel and to strengthen ourselves on those situations, right? Immediately when we see a Jew, we realize that, right, it's Hashem, we're one, right? And then work our way out. Now, how can we make this make sense, right? And I'm sorry, I don't want to go too long, but we know this from the Mooncatcher Passport, and that was the title for the first video, the first Chabura session in Ahavat Yisroel, right? It was titled the Mooncatcher Passport. So Rav Shlomo opens up the Mooncatcher Passport and he says like this: we have so many boundaries, so many borders. On the one hand, that's the way it has to be. We all need to define our lives, whether as nations or as human beings. The problem begins when we become protective, when we start becoming possessive. We say, this is my territory. This is me. Don't cross my border. Then the boundaries become walls, or we have a wall between you and I. We're not one. We feel safe as long as we stay inside our borders, inside our Dalad Amos, inside our rooms, and keep everybody else out. We all know about the boundaries between countries. You can find them on any map, but there are many other kinds of borders between one person and another, between husbands and wives, chas v'shalom, between children and their parents. And sadly enough, there are also boundaries that seem to separate us from God. This is why there is no peace in the world, says Reb Shlomo, because we can't get through each other's walls. We don't know how to cross the borders. And do you know what we need? Do you know what we need, Chavra? We need a Mooncatcher Passport. So what is this Mooncatcher Passport? We're going to say a quick Maisa, a quick story. Farkas are inside. It's informal Breslov stories, informal Rabbi Nachman stories. So let's open up our hearts. A chassid once came to Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev and said, this is a short story. Holy Master, I hate to bother you, but I have to travel to Lublin and I don't have a passport. I know I could go to the police and get one, but you know what happens to a Jew here in Russia? The moment the police know about him, it means nothing but trouble. And I don't want the authorities to know that I exist. Please, Rabbi, if there is some way you could help me to get the passport I need. The Berditchever said, wait here. He went into his private room and came out a few minutes later holding a blank piece of paper. Here's your passport, he said, giving the paper to the chassid. Then seeing the expression on the student's face, he added, don't worry. With this passport, you won't need anything more. Can you imagine how much faith it takes to come to a border and hand the guard a blank piece of paper? But this chassid was on a level. Was on such a level, Kevra. He had absolute trust in his rebbe. He ran home, packed his things, and set off for Lublin. When he came to the Polish border, he took a deep breath, said a silent prayer, and handed the soldier the Berditchever's passport. The officer studied the blank paper for a moment and then started saluting the chassid. What a privilege to meet such an exalted person. It's the greatest honor of my whole life. On behalf of the Polish government, I'd like to offer you whatever help I can on your journey. Perhaps a horse and a carriage would make your travels more comfortable. Now, this chassid was a poor man. He'd mamish never ridden a carriage in his whole life. Wherever he went in Poland, he showed the Berditchever's passport and all the gates were instantly open. He was treated like a king. His trip was a gewalt, and he returned home with shalom and peace. Now, Chevra, we think this is exactly what the Rebbe Itchemeyer is telling us. What do we need? We need a Mooncatcher Passport. Yeah, on a map, right? From an outside perspective, what we spoke about last night, when you get dropped in the world, you could think there's separation, you could think there's difference between people. But if we really understand what it means to have true Ahavat Yisrael, to have the Berditchever passport in our hands at all time, we realize that labels are just for shirts. Labels are just for shirts. But Chavra, no matter what you classify yourself as, a Breslover, a Lubavitcher Rebbe, right? A Chiloni, a Haredi, they're just names We're just names. And at the end of the day, we need to give each other the Mooncatcher passport. And we also need to accept others' Mooncatcher passports. We need to be the Polish border. There's two ways to be a border police. A border police. A border police is, there's one way to scan the passports, to look at all the information. Oh, you wear a black hat. Oh, you don't wear a kippah. You have an invisible kippah. Oh, you wear that shirt. You wear that shirt. You come this time during davening. You don't wear tefillin. That is one way to be border police. But another way to be border police is like Gewalt. There's apparent differences, right? In front of my eyes, I may feel like you're lacking or like you're missing something. But let me go even deeper. Let me go to the blank piece of paper. The blank piece of paper, meaning that we're one body, we're one neshama. At the root of everything, we're all connected. We're together. And Be'ezrat Hashem, and we would be in that place at all times, getting to a place of miyad, of immediately seeing another person's neshama, of their chelak elokam mimah mamish. And whatever happens on the outside is just what we see. It's from our limited perspective. It's from our unholy eyes. May we have the eyes of the Mooncatcher passport. May we know that we're holding the Mooncatcher passport at all times. And have a love that's not dependent on anything. Bezrat Hashem Chevra. Questions, comments, please feel free. It's a strong one. It's mamish a strong one. Rebs, are we just gonna laugh? I think laughing is speaking. Farka, do you have a thought for a Shabbos short? Wait, do you have anything to add, or mamish?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Like, how practically do you go about like doing it? Because it almost seems impossible.
It seems impossible, Achi. It really does. It really does seem impossible. But we saw in previous pieces from Rav Itchemeyer, Rav Itchemeyer is not just giving us the idea. He's not just saying, okay, the Mooncatcher passport and like a nice story, and not telling us to do something like the paw, right, in action. Rav Itchemeyer was giving us the tools, right, giving us the ability to really, really work on it. And what does he say? He says, literally practice it. Literally go up to a Jew, go up to your friend that's next to you, and tell yourself in your head, or maybe say it out loud to him or to yourself, this person is a Jew. This person has the chelak elokam mimah. And I did it a couple of times, actually, the last couple of days. And I don't know if we're going to see, or if I'm going to see, maybe you'll see right away. But I don't know if I'm going to see the true Ahavat Yisroel that we're speaking about, right? Where there's no labels and there's no differences, and there's no separation, and there's no tree of knowledge, right? We're only living in a world of oneness. We may not get to that point right away, but we can at least try, right? I just heard in a shir today, it's just beautiful that you're saying that you brought up this question. I hope I'm trying to answer it, but meaning leading us to the answer. I'm just trying to lead us to the answer. I don't have an answer, but Rav Chaim Freud speaks about Rav Nassan, and Rav Nassan said that there's two types of people. There's two types of learners. And Rav Nassan says that there's a learner that is like, I want to learn Shas. So he goes to the bookshelf with all the books, right? And he's like, he gets to the bookshelf. He's like, what? What? How am I going to learn Shas? There's a million books over here. How am I going to go through all those pages? What? The consistency, the discipline, the the knowledge. Like, how am I going to do that? He starts overwhelming himself, and he ends up not learning at all. That's one type of learner. Or honestly, that's one type of approach to life. But what does Rav Nassim say? There's another type of person who's like, I want to learn Shas. Do you hear me? I want to learn Shas. And he goes to the bookshelf and he sees all the books. He's like, Gevalt, look at all the books. But then he's like, which is the first one? What can I do right now? And he starts with dot base. And he finishes dot base. And he's like, Gevalt, I finished dot base. And then he goes to Gimel, he goes to Dalid. And before you know, he's finished with the first Masechet. He's finished with Brachot. And then he goes on and on and on and then finishes Shas. So Rav Itchmar is saying, start right now. Start right now, just a little bit. Right? You have the whole world in front of you. I have the world in front of me. Right? I'm going to be going to a park later playing basketball. Right? And literally practicing it. Saying to ourselves, saying it like literally going to it. Do you know that you're a Jew? It's a Gewalt. And then it makes you see the Pneumius, tap into the Pneumius much quicker. That's the goal. The more we live in the Chitzoni, the harder it will be. Right? Because the second we see something that's not wrong, then like we just take our eyes off of it and say it's not worth my time. Right? It's not worth my time. I'm just gonna push you away and then just go for the people that I'm comfortable with. Go into my ark. Go into my ark. Right? The Noach versus Avram. Right? Noach was in his teva, because he loved being in his teva. Right? Avram, mamish went out to strangers. Said, come in, Chavra, come in. Right? All he saw was the inside. All he saw was the inside. So Bezrat Hashem, we should live in the Pneumius. Live in the Pneumius. But all we can do is right now, one daf, one line, one word. One word is so big. Did that help give clarity to both of us? I think it gave more clarity to me, honestly.
Nah, but I think it did do something. It was good.
Baruch Hashem. Achi, do you have a Shabbos short?
I came up with a new sticker.
Okay, wait. I'm just gonna pause the recording.